Hi, guys. Okay, so welcome. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a topic that maybe we as creatives aren't as comfortable with, and that is about money and your financial literacy. So I think especially if we're the kind of people that it's like, oh, I'm like really creative, I'm artistic, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have a degree in finance. I don't think about it in that way. Or if you tell yourself like I'm not good at numbers, right? We kind of develop this allergy to taking care of our money. And even sometimes I think the idea of money can feel bad or can feel like yucky, like, oh, I don't want to be a greedy corporate overlord, so I'm just not going to think about it. Okay. So the idea of financial literacy is so important to me because I feel like I personally experienced such a disservice, I guess is how I'll explain it, where I feel like I for many years, like probably 10 years, was just like in the dark about money, didn't know how to manage it, didn't know how to think about it. I had so much student loans that I literally ignored for about 5 years. Like I would just pay the minimum, not even think about it, and just like pretend like it wasn't there. And I think that was really hindering me from like my own growth, not just financially, but I think even mentally or spiritually, there was some kind of block because there was a whole part of my life, my finances that I was not looking at. And you guys know I love you and I care about you. And I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. And actually, like figuring out what to do with your money, figuring out how to pay back your loans, and getting into a healthy financial situation is actually not hard. Like when I started to get serious about it, I realized like, oh, I feel like all these people have been gatekeeping this, making it seem really complicated, and it's not that complicated. So I proceeded to tell every single one of my friends about like everything that I was doing. I would be like talking to them about like stocks. I would be talking to them about like how to manage their savings account. If they were a small business owner, I'd be like, have you heard about this thing? Like, I'm just always that annoying person. Like last year when I was like talking to my new neighbors and they were like, oh, you know about like investing? I was like, yeah, like I'm obsessed with it. It's like something that I personally do. And like they would come to like these dudes were like coming to me for advice because this is just like something that I think that as a woman, and especially if you are someone who's really creative, it's like sometimes we feel like, oh, finance, that's like not my lane. And I'm here to tell you, like, it is your lane. It should be your lane. And if you can learn how to oil paint, if you can learn how to write a screenplay, then you certainly can learn how to manage your finances. So I've written a list. I just woke up this morning and I made a list of like 11 things that I do. And they're all pretty easy. And I'm just going to share them with you. Put this on in the background if you're like washing the dishes, picking up the kids, going to work, whatever you're doing, taking your walk. And I don't expect all 11 to like sink in, but even if you just start thinking about it, maybe start implementing a couple here and there. Like if you did one thing or two things, like this stuff snowballs, okay? And I'm just gonna read the list. There's no fluff. Nothing is sponsored. You guys know I don't really do sponsorships. So if I mention something, it's just because it's what I use. You don't have to use that software or that program. I don't even think any of these are like so amazing. It just happens to be like what I do. Okay. So let's start. The first thing that I did in my kind of like financial awakening, and this I would say happened in 2018, 2019, is when I really started to be like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Because I graduated from business school in 2010. That's a very long time ago, okay? And so for the first 5, 6 years, I had all in, I had about $200,000 in student loans because it was New York City and it's business school. Costs a lot, okay? And I just didn't think about it. I literally put it on auto pay. I put it on the lowest possible amount, did not think about it, paid it for like 5 years, didn't look at it, wouldn't look at it, didn't want to look at it. Finally, in like 2018, I had 2 young kids at that point. I was no longer I was kind of in between jobs. I had like left New York City. I was in Denver. And I just remember being like, hey, maybe you should stop ignoring that thing. I feel like you owe a lot of money. You don't even know how much you owe. You have to start looking at this stuff. And I remember I was at my mom's house and I just literally Googled how to pay back student loan. And within 20 minutes, I had so much more information and I wasn't afraid of it. I started logging into my account. I started looking at understanding what I owed, okay? At the same time, I was going to the library and I was just checking out books and I was just educating myself, okay? And I would just go into the financial section and just I would just take out a stack of books at a time. I'd come home and I'd just read them. I'd read them. No one was like, oh, you have to do this. I just was you know what it was? I felt kind of dumb because I was like, okay, I've straight up went to business school. I learned all about corporations. I learned about balance sheets, how to manage finances, strategy, marketing. Nobody sat me down and taught me about investing. They didn't teach me about financial anything. They don't tell you about what you're getting into with these huge loans, right? They don't tell you about predatory interest rates. And so I felt dumb because I was like, oh my God, I full on went to business school and I didn't learn a thing that could be actually practical to my own life. If I can learn corporate finance, I can certainly learn personal finance, right? So I started reading, I started researching, and I'm telling you, within a couple of months, I had learned so much and I was implementing so many things. And I'm just it's possible to go from a total novice newbie where you don't know anything to a place where you feel pretty good and you feel pretty on top of things. Okay. So the first thing that I did was just try to manage my credit cards. Specifically, I had, I think 3 different cards that I was using. I had an Amazon card that I used to get points. I had a travel credit card, and then I had a personal credit card, and I was just using them, not really thinking about strategically which one to use and when. And it also meant that I had 3 different bills to keep track of. I didn't know at any given point how much money I was spending because it was just all over the place. So my strategy was, okay, let's get it down to one card. And it didn't even matter. I think I ended up picking my Citi card, whatever. I canceled my Amazon credit card because I also was I'm spending too much on Amazon. I don't need another sort of psychological benefit to using Amazon. So I canceled that. And I changed all of my auto pays, all of my subscription billing to just be on the one credit card. It meant that I could log into one dashboard and be able to see everything in one place. So simplifying how you spend your money. Okay, I've heard of people putting credit cards in the freezer, whatever it takes. I didn't want to have to manage 3 different bills. I didn't want to have to get out my calculator and add up every month. Okay, this much on that one, this much on that. I just needed to look in one place and be able to manage it. Okay. The second thing I did as I was consolidating all of this is that I actually went through and looked at specifically recurring subscriptions. So I had a bad habit of like signing up for a subscription because it's like, oh, I need this software. Okay, I'll just pay it, right? But then I had to go through and be like, am I actually using this? Right? Because it's charging me $29 a month. And then you multiply that by 12 and you're like, oh my God, that's like over $300 a year. Like, am I even using this? I was able to very easily go through and be like, you know what? I know I have a subscription to the New York Times, but I haven't read it in a couple of months. So I'm going to get rid of that, you know? I had an Adobe subscription that was very expensive and that had like every single software. I was like, I'm not even using, I like sometimes use Photoshop like once in a blue moon, like canceled that, right? Looking at all my subscriptions, I was like, just recently, I realized that I was paying for Peacock probably because way back when the Olympics was going on, I like wanted to watch the Olympics and then it was just like still billing me. So I went through and I canceled that. I also want to say that a lot of this stuff is a pain in the ass to cancel, right? Like in order to cancel Peacock, I like went on their website and they're like, please log in to the system that you use. So I'm like, wait, so did I do this on the big TV? So I have to like go into the room and with the Xbox and log in there. And I was just like, so they make it hard for you. They make it hard for you to cancel these things. But if you're not using them, please. I remember I added up all of my cancellations and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm literally saving $700 a year in just like not paying for this stuff that I'm not using anyway. Third, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I am. I keep all of my receipts. Now, especially since we have been moving and as a result, we're like in this new space with the farm. Like we're going to Home Depot a lot. Okay. We're going to Lowe's a lot. We're like, oh, we need a rake. Okay. Let's buy that. I'm doing my backsplash, you guys know. So it's like, oh, I need to buy mortar and all these tools. Okay. Guess what? I actually created, I'm going to show you guys. I created this notebook. Okay. It's just a notebook. It's actually a journal. It's like the same journal paper that I use. Okay, it has a cover. It just has a bunch of pages. And what I've done is I tape all of my receipts. Okay? I don't always do this, but I have done it in this case because we're in a transition moment and I want everything to be in one place. Organizational systems do not have to be expensive. This could be a $1 notebook and some tape, okay? But what happens is, you know, that if I bought a screen for my window for $14, I'm like, oh, it actually doesn't fit. Okay, old Mandy would have maybe just like let it sit in the garage. New Mandy is like, okay, let's find that receipt. Let's find that receipt, okay? Let's bring it back. Let's get our $14 back. It's just a practice, guys. It's a mentality. I think probably this can also be curbed by just being really, really sure that you want to buy it before you buy it. But if not, also reducing the amount of clutter in your home by doing the returns and having a system for yourself so that the returns are easy. I probably, especially in this like busy period, I probably have been getting $100 back a month in just like things that I realized like, oh, this is the wrong size. It's in perfectly good condition. I haven't used it. I have the receipt. I'm going to just, when I go do the school pickup, I'm going to stop at Lowe's and I'm going to return the thing. I'm going to get my $29 back, right? Get your $29 back. Okay, number 4 is that I actually prioritized my student loans. And what this meant is that there's something very important called an amortization table. Okay, think about it as a giant chart where you can change certain variables in the chart to see different scenarios. Okay, so let's say you owe $100,000 because you went to grad school. Okay, You can type into the top of these charts and just Google amortization chart, amortization table. Okay. You can type in, okay, I have $100,000 in loans. I want the payback period to be 5 years, and this is the interest rate. Okay. You should be able to see how much interest you're paying, right? It will fill out the table for you so that you can see, oh, okay, I have 36 payments. Or, okay, I have 136 payments. And what you want to do with this amortization table is you want to play with the different variables. Okay, so obviously, first you're going to be typing in your current scenario, right? I have $100,000 worth of loans. I'm on a 10-year payback schedule, and my interest rate is 9%, 15%, whatever it is. Okay. You're going to be able to see over the course of that loan how much interest you're paying. And I hope to God that when you see the amount of interest, that it scares you and that it pisses you off, because that's what it did to me. I was typing it in based on the existing schedule that the student loan company had me on. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, if I just stick to this schedule, then I am paying close to 30% interest. Like, do you know what that means? That means in addition to paying back the 100K, right? I'm also paying $30,000 for the privilege of borrowing the money. That pissed me off. And that made me be like, wait a minute, what if I change something? What if I change it from, instead of 10-year payback, 5-year payback? I know that's crazy. I know that's aggressive, but like, what does that look like? You see the numbers change. You see the amount of interest that you have to pay drop. Okay? Let that motivate you. Now, I was particularly angry about this because I am accountable, but I had not been looking at my loans for years. So for years, I'd been paying mostly interest. Like I barely even touched the principal. So the principal is the actual loan. When you look at your chart, guys, you have to look at how much principal I'm paying, which is the loan itself, how much money I owe, versus how much interest I'm paying, which is just the privilege of borrowing the money. Okay. It pissed me off so much because I was like, oh my God, I've just been like paying these people interest. I haven't even been attacking the principal. Like, this is bullshit. And then I was like, okay, so if I increased my amount, if I increased the amount that I pay, how does that change? So I got really locked in and I ended up getting a part-time job. I was working 2 jobs, getting a part-time job just so that I could have extra money. I took every single dollar that I made from that part-time job and I funneled it into my student loans. Okay? What I'm saying is that you have to look at it. You have to look at it and you have to get transparent with yourself. You have to know what hole you're in and you have to be okay with digging yourself out of it. Now, once I had the kind of like awakening in 2018 and was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I have to take care of this, right? It still took me 3.5 more years to pay it down. At the time of my awakening, I had about 90,000 left in loans. It still wasn't overnight. I still had to stare at this spreadsheet for over 36 months, every month being like, okay, you did a little better. Okay. Next month, payment 2 of 36. Okay, you did a little better, right? Every month, like, had to stare at it. So don't think that this is like an overnight thing. I also say this so that if you're like deep into it and really scared, know that like it just takes time. And so whether you start now or whether you start 6 months from now, like I want you to start and don't beat yourself up about it. Just start, so that, because it's a long game. Okay. No matter what, paying back your loans is a long game. Just start. The fifth thing that I did, and this is more like me and my husband together, but the fifth thing that I did was we intentionally chose a house that was below our means. When we bought this farmhouse, we paid less than we did for our last house, which is very anti-American. Like, that's not the American trend, right? The American trend is to go bigger, bigger, bigger. We did not. We did not. Why? Because we wanted to build in financial flexibility. What if something happens? What if there's a downturn? What if one of us loses our job, right? We don't want to be golden handcuffed to this huge mortgage that we have to pay every month. Okay. And so it's about minimalism, and it's about intentionally living below your means to what? To give yourself some flexibility. The sixth thing that I did, and this is specifically as a small business owner, the sixth thing that I did was I used to always feel kind of dumb as a business owner because I was like, ugh, like, yeah, I'm doing all this like entrepreneurship stuff. But the thing is like all my friends are at these like big companies and they have their 401ks and their investments. And like, I don't have any of that, right? Okay. Anytime you feel bad about yourself, anytime you feel like, oh, why don't I have that thing? Like, just Google it. Just Google it. Because I started to search. I was like, well, there has to be something. Like, for all these small business owners, like they can't just be like, oh, I just don't have a 401k just because I run my own business. Guess what? There is. It's called a SEP IRA. Okay. It's going to be different for everyone in every situation. That's the one that I found works for me. It operates essentially like a 401k, and I automatically contribute to that from my account every month. It's also like a 401k. Like, I can't touch those funds until I have to double check, but I think until I'm like 55 and a half or something. Like, there are penalties. So the same way with the 401k, where it's like a nest egg, it's growing, it's attached to the stock market based on, stocks that you pick, right? And that it's meant to be retirement. Like, you really shouldn't touch that money. If you do take money out, there are like withdrawal penalties, right? So it operates the same way. The tax benefits are similar, okay? So all I'm saying is that being proactive, right? I'm not saying a SEP IRA is right for everyone, okay? You could do your own research based on your situation, but instead of like feeling sorry for myself and being like, oh, it's so sucky that I don't have a 401k, I was just like, bitch, let me go make one. Like, there has to be something, right? There are so many financial tools, financial instruments out there for you. Just research them, find the one that's right for you. The seventh thing that I did was I really started to educate myself on investing, okay? There are two main types of investments that I make. One is in individual stocks, like companies that you've heard of, Apple, Google, Microsoft, things like that. And another is an ETF, which is essentially operates like an index. So it will take an industry or a category of things, and it's a composite. So you're buying one share, but it actually is a composite of, say, 10 or 15 different stocks. And when you look at the different index funds, you can actually look and see, like, they are legally required to tell you I think like the top 10 stocks within their fund. But you can see like, oh, okay, it's a technology fund, so they have Microsoft, they have Meta, whatever it is, okay? So I started putting my money into the stock market, and I also did it so that every month automatically there's money being pulled out of my bank account and put into my platform that I use, okay, to like trade. And what this means is that like the money is automatically deducted, and every month or two, I like remember, I'm like, oh yeah, I have like money in that account. Then I go in there and I pick the stocks, or I pick the ETFs that I'm going to invest in, okay? Having that all be automated, happening in the background, essentially has made it's like dummy proof. It's like, okay, I go in there, I'm picking pretty reliable stocks. I'm also actively viewing my portfolio, seeing what's working, what's not. The stocks that are not working, I've now gained the discipline to like sell those and not hold on to them. So you're going to develop your own system, but don't be afraid of investing. They make it seem so hard, but it's really easy. Like you just go in there, you pick what looks good to you, start really small. I remember my very first, when I started, I think I did like $75. I was like, I'm just going to pick one stock and see what happens. And like every day I would log in and I'd see like how my $75 was doing. And then people were like, you really shouldn't look at it every day. And then like eventually I just did a little more and a little more and a little more. And now the account has grown. And for me, it was helpful to think about a target. So for me, the target was like, okay, my kids' college education fund. So I had a number that I was like targeting. I was like, okay, so I basically had a chart where I was like, okay, so by the time my kids go to college, I'm going to need this much money based on inflation. And then based on how much money I need, then this is how much money I need to be pulling out of my account every month. And then let's assume this percentage rate of return, then that's how much money that I'm going to try to reach by this certain amount of time. Okay. So just having a simple goal like that could be really helpful. The eighth thing that I do is I pay off my credit card bill in full. This can be really scary sometimes because you look and you're like, how the heck did I spend $4,000? Especially when you are running a business. And in my business, I have to front the money ahead of time. Okay. I think that like in some ways, I feel like I've been very disciplined with my business and I've really bootstrapped it. Like I was able to basically start my business without taking out any loans because I was like, after the B school loans, I was like, never again, never taking out loans again, right? But I was basically able to basically fund my business through, I sold services. So I used to do just like one-on-one coaching and I would charge like $150 a session for the coaching. So I figured, okay, if I do like 7 or 8 sessions, then I make $1,000. Okay. How many $1,000 do I need to like buy my first printer or buy my first hole puncher or buy my first equipment, right? And in the beginning, I just sold my journals $28 at a time until I made enough to upgrade my equipment. Okay. So I just hustled it out. I just waited it out. I didn't start with anything. I started with literally my home printer that I used to the point of I got a message on the printer that said your printer has expired. Like you have reached the natural life of your printer. Stop using this printer, you know? Nothing fancy. There was nothing fancy. I didn't take out a single dollar to fund my business because I was like, honestly, just so scarred from the whole student loan thing. I was like, trust me, I got offers all the time from credit card companies, from banks being like, hey, would you like a $10,000 line of credit? No, I would not, because I know what that comes with. And so my business growth was slow. It continues to be slow, right? I haven't opened a warehouse. I haven't hired 10 people. I'm just doing it slow and steady. And the reason that I bring up this idea of like paying it off in full is like, if I can't pay it off in full, then that means I'm not ready for that level of growth. Right? And there are certain months with my business where like, guys, when I buy, for example, when I buy a lot of mailing, like packing mailers, okay, like the big envelopes that the journals come in, I buy those in bulk because you get a better price that way. But every time I buy, they're basically end up being 70 cents each, right? So if I'm buying 600, I'm paying $400 for mailers, right? And that's just mailers, paper. Every time I buy a box of paper, it's $60. But you can't just buy one box. You kind of have to buy like 4 boxes, right? So I'm spending $700, $500, $700. I need tape, but not just one roll. I need 10 rolls of tape, right? Like Trust me, the bills for the business are high, and especially because I need to front that cost first, right? So my principle is like, I'm not gonna grow unless I'm ready to grow. And my barometer for that is, can I pay the bill in full? If I don't have $4,000 of cash laying around so that I can afford boxes and tape and paper, then I wait. Then I wait. Then I wait. I don't take on consumer debt. I don't take on business debt. I just wait. Or I buy less, right? Or like right now, I'm like, I kind of feel like the stickers I have are like fall stickers, and it'd be really cute to have like winter, like snowman stickers. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to use up the stickers that I have. That's the mentality. Okay, the ninth thing, and this is a financial hygiene type of thing, is that for my business, I pay the taxes quarterly. Okay? Especially if you're a small business owner, do not make the mistake of thinking that, oh, you'll just like deal with it later. No, you won't deal with it later, because there's so many requirements for your cash flow, like I just explained, with like the purchasing of the raw materials and the having to invest in like the product before you get the revenue back, right? You have to be disciplined and look at how much money you're making, and ahead of time schedule, okay, I'm going to take 20%, 25% of this, put it aside, send it off to the IRS. Like I send it. I don't even put it aside. I'm like, if I put it aside, I don't even trust myself. Like that needs to be gone from my account. I can't even know that it's there. The 10th thing is that I moved my money, money in my savings account, from like a regular schmegular like Bank of America account into a high yield savings account. Okay. We looked, there's like websites where you can Google like what's the highest rate that's being offered right now in an account. Usually it's going to be an online bank account, and that's the one that we went with. But with my old account, we literally were making like 0.01% interest, which is nothing. And in our new one, it's variable, obviously, but it's about between 3 and 4%. So depending on how much money you have in there, I mean, that's like meaningful, okay? So highly recommend, if you have a chunk of change, to put that into a high yield savings account. And number 11, when it comes to financial literacy, one thing that I'm always doing is I'm always looking at my money. I'm always looking at it. I will wake up and I'll look at my bank account. I'll look at my bank account. I'll look at my my high yield savings account. I'll look at my stocks. I'll look at my credit card. I'm always looking at my credit card. Now, since having a business, I did open a business credit card just for taxes and things. I thought it would be easier, especially in those early days when I had a lot of capital expenditure. I was buying printers. I was buying, equipment and things. But I'm always in there. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not like, oh, let me look at my accounts. Okay. The more you look at it, the more familiar you become, and the less likely that things slip through your fingers. Okay. You're going to know that like, oh, I got overcharged for this. Let me go contact that company. Right? Or you're going to be like, oh, I returned that $29 thing. Oh, it hit my account. Okay, good. Don't be too cool. Like it's cool to know these things. Like you have to kind of be obsessive about your money. It's your money. And if you watch it, that is how it grows. I know to the dollar the amount I have in every single account. One account, I'm like, that's not great. It's not great because I did just take money out for taxes. And so it's feeling a little slim, right? But I know the amount. So get intimate, like get really familiar. Download the apps onto your phone. Okay. And by the way, it's super annoying. Every time I log in, it's like 2-factor authentication to like type in the thing. And then this is like, make sure you have your phone near you. Like this, none of this is easy, but it's simple. Okay. Those are 11 tips. I am sure there are 50 tips and I could do a part 2, but let me know what resonates with you. What are you guys doing? How do you make your money work for you? And I'm constantly learning too. Like even before filming this video, I was like, oh, I should like look at this. Like maybe there's definitely stuff that like I'm not doing that I should do. And also like the last time that I really deep dived into this and like got my financial house in order was a couple years ago. It's kind of been on autopilot since then. So I'm also like, I should really research like are ETFs like the most current? Like what are some of the strategies that people are using today? Do you know what I'm saying? So like we're always learning, we're always adding to this. These are just like the 11 that I could think of off the top of my head. And I hope this is helpful for you. If you do one thing today, look at your student loans. Just look at them, log in, get the information, see how much interest you've already paid, how much interest you have yet to pay. Let that be the fire under your ass to actually take charge. Do whatever it takes to make a little more money to throw towards those loans, because I'm telling you, once I paid off my loans, that was my ticket to freedom. That was my ticket to freedom. That was what made me be like, okay, I don't have this weight on my back anymore. I don't have this required huge payment. I have a little bit of freedom. I can experiment. I can try new things. That's when my business started to take off because I wasn't bound. I wasn't so burdened by this, right? That's what freedom is. So I had to literally pay for my freedom, but it's worth every penny. Okay, I love you guys. I hope this was helpful and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.